All right, good Sunday evening.
Good
Holy
Sunday
cow,
evening.
it is Sunday night service with Dani Williamson and
Dr. Motley.
Woo!
With the last of my little like Panama shirt, because I know it's going into fall, so I thought I'm going to just go out with a bang.
Yeah, I got a big sweatshirt on tonight. So, oh my goodness. Hey, good evening, Bonnie. I'm so glad you're on here. As you guys get on, hit your heart buttons, hit your like buttons. Cheers to Sunday night service.
Oh,
this is our church service on Sunday nights.
And
we are talking parasites tonight. And while you guys are logging on, I see your numbers adding up here. So hit your heart, hit your like buttons. He texted me like 10 minutes ago and said, what are we talking about tonight? I was like, what the heck? What do you mean, what are we talking about tonight?
Hey, Pat.
Look, I mean, for crying out loud.
No,
so
I knew we
parasites, we're talking parasites. And let me tell you, parasites are a big deal, people. A big deal. Now, he deals a lot more with parasites than I do. But, well, actually, that's not true. Well, probably he finds parasites more than I do because I do stool studies and he does kinesiology testing. But hello, Bonnie. We have two Bonnies on here tonight. So, all right, guys, tell us where you're listening from and where you're watching from. And then we're going to talk all about parasites.
All about
Do
parasites.
you see a lot of parasites?
I do. Like to get a test done, guys, to get it verified by stool is the proper procedure. With kinesiology, I always check which meridian or which acupuncture line, which organ is deficient or imbalanced. And then I cross-check it with what we call vials or radionic vials, which have the frequency of the actual parasites trapped within the water. And you can put that over the body and see if it's present in the body. So basically, I know that's very confusing, guys. I do with meridian testing and acupuncture and kinesiology testing. But I see a lot of it, especially within gallbladder and large intestine.
Hello, Teresa.
So there's a couple points I'll go over later about where you can press on to find out if there's parasites that could be present.
Oh my goodness. So when I was researching this today, because parasites is, again, another thing that I was not taught at Vanderbilt, never even mentioned parasites to me. You know, it's really pretty fascinating. So what was it that we were just literally, so toxoplasmosis is the leading cause. Now this came right off of the CDC website. The leading cause of foodborne illness and death, toxoplasmosis, right? More than 60 million people in the United States are chronically infected. Infections in pregnant women can lead to birth defects in their babies, and infections in immunocompromised individuals can actually be deadly. So toxoplasmosis, you know, that's the one with the cat litter. So they say don't change the cat litter, you know, if you're pregnant.
And they say it aspirates up into the air. So actually, whenever the toxoplasmosis can insist, and the fecal matter can get into the dust in the air, and actually you can breathe it in. And sometimes, and when you breathe it in, then the cysts get in the body and can hatch.
Oh, yes, they do hatch. Oh, this is crazy. I mean, I learned all kinds of things about parasites today. So the CDC has a whole section on their website on neglected parasitic infections in the United States. And there are 5 targeted infections that they are really working on that believe that, and they're trying to train providers to test more for, right? Mm-hmm. Number 1 is Chagas
disease.
Okay. And I didn't know anything about Chagas, and it is predominantly in Latin American individuals.
Yes.
You knew this?
Yes.
It is estimated that over 300,000 people living in the United States are infected with Chagas, the parasite that creates Chagas disease. More than 300 infected babies are born every year in the United States. Do you see this?
We have vials that test for Chagas, and what they do express when they come into the office is like, if we can't find something on blood work and they keep showing fatigue, expressive fatigue, then I go in and test for that. But Chagas does show up on people, and people who've never been out of the States at all. And I don't understand why, because they say Latin America is the place to get it. But I do think
these things are transferred fecal oral route. Yep. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen. So I went to Cracker Barrel today and met my 2 best friends from home in Clarksville. They were in from Kentucky and Iowa. And so I thought, well, I'm driving back, I'm sitting in traffic, I'll just turn on a YouTube video and listen about parasites. Mm-hmm. Oh, I should not have listened. So there was this one that's talking about the fecal oral route, right? So the poop and the mouth, And it just said on there, you can get hookworms, pinworms, Chagas, all these things from people, somebody who goes to the bathroom in a public restroom, does not wash their hands, goes back out to the table, uses the salt or uses the pepper or whatever they touch, and then you come next and you use the salt or the pepper, and boom, you got a parasite.
Yeah, you do.
Holy crap. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, and that's
it just doesn't, you just don't want to touch anything if you really think about the fact that you could catch all of this. So anyway, I mean, how gross is that? So you don't wash your hands, and then you touch the salt, and then the next person touches the salt, and damn, you've got hookworms or pinworms or, giardia or something terrible. So, okay, so we have Chagas, and then we have neurocysticercosis. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, it is the single most common infectious cause of seizures in some areas of the United States. There is an estimated 1,000 new hospitalizations for neurocysticercosis in the United States each year. So that's the second one the CDC is working on. Cariasis is a parasitic infection of cats and dogs. Okay, almost 14% of the United States population has been exposed to toxicaria.
Yes.
Every year, an estimated 70 people, most of them children, are blinded by toxicaria. The true numbers are believed to be even higher. Then you have toxoplasmosis, and then you have trichomonas, which is a treatable infection that can increase the risk of HIV or serious pregnancy problems, such as preterm labor in women and low birth rate. 3.7 million people in the United States are affected with trichomonas. Unbelievable.
When you talk about that, the toxicara, there's times I've had young guys come into the office, and I have these kits, and each kit will have at least 50 to 60 different types of strands of parasites, because that's how many exist, and the eggs and the cysts, because they insist. And I found a toxicara on 2 young guys. The symptoms were, and with kinesiology, I found it, and it seemed as though the area that was most affected was around the mouth. And both kids had it, and I was like, what? And then I looked it up, because there's so many out there. I had to look. I have to read it on my forms, and it said it came from dogs and cats. And I said, do you have any dogs?
They're kissing them.
Kissing the dog was kissing them on the mouth.
Yes, so they lick their anus. Okay, so I listened to this too today, coming back. This was not a fun driving back from Clarksville today. Talked about the dogs licking their anuses and the cats licking their anuses, and then they kiss all over you, and boom,
you get it in your mouth. And that's exactly what people say. I kiss my dog and stuff. I'm like,
their mouth is cleaner than the toilet. Oh, I hear that all the time. And Harlan's kissed me on the face. Yeah. So there's no telling what we're living with, people. The most common parasite out there are roundworms.
Roundworms,
right?
Yes,
or roundworms. They grow as large as 35 centimeters. 35 centimeters. This is huge. Okay. So it's 10 centimeters that a baby's head has to open up the vagina, right? Yep. So 3.5 times. 3.5 times that, right?
Yep.
Okay. And they may live for up to 2 years in the small intestine.
Completely.
Roundworms.
Wow.
Its life cycle is complex and involves multiple human organs, right? I got this off of the CDC as well. Every day, a female worm, a hookworm, roundworm, I'm sorry, will produce about 200,000 eggs, which are fertilized by the nearby male worms in the intestines.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, totally. We had patients that did an infrared
roundworms. I'm itching all over.
And every time we come in, we'd find the reflex points, guys, in acupuncture for the large intestine and the liver. And when I checked with the testing we do, I found parasite, and I told her it was ongoing. It's almost happened, guys, for almost 8 months. It's a 2-year thing. And so I know she got frustrated, and she would keep going. It's still there. I said, it's getting killed off because it's getting less and less. So she goes on the infrared pad, and infrared sauna, right?
Yeah.
And so she goes, I feel worse. And this happened after 2 weeks, and she was sitting on the infrared pad, guys, for almost 2 weeks straight every day. And I went, when you put infrared into a cell, you detox.
You bet.
She released, I think
when you wake them up,
about 30 different worms in her toilet. Like, she woke up and she went to the restroom. And you talk about roundworm. My friend Dr. Todd Watts up in Idaho, right? He does they call them rope worms. And he'll send me pictures, 18 inches, like thick worms coming out of people. 18 to 20 inches.
Teresa Greco, are you on here tonight? Because we're going to talk about colon hydrotherapy as another way to help expel these. But Teresa Greco, she sees things like that come out as well in her colon hydrotherapy. Okay, so we have roundworms, and then we have hookworms. The number 2 most common are hookworms, human hookworms, right? They infect hundreds of millions of people. 576 to 740 million people estimated worldwide have hookworms. They're the second most common infection. And then we have Giardia, right? And I see a lot of Giardia when I do stool studies on patients. They've got a lot of Giardia, which causes diarrhea worldwide and in the United States. It's most frequently diagnosed. It's the most frequently diagnosed intestinal parasitic disease, Giardia. Then you have pinworms. So pinworms, I had a patient a couple of years ago. She and her family went through horrible pinworms. I mean, they could not get rid of the pinworms. And pinworms are going to show up as a lot of anal itching, especially at night. So if you have anal itching at night, you've got to really think about pinworms, because what happens is at night when we go to bed, that mama releases and starts to wiggle around in there and move around, and they go around the anus is where they want to be. Is that not something?
It's really,
and so in little babies, you can put tape up there and you can tape those and you can catch those pinworms on tape. Exactly. Is that not something?
It's crazy.
And so, okay, then we have pinworms, and then we have Cryptosporidium. Do you see a lot of crypto? That's a human to human fecal oral.
You get a lot from food because they've been handled improperly.
You bet. So in your restaurants and things like that, also people who work in restaurants and don't wash their hands and they go back. I mean, if you really thought about this, you'd never eat out again. Never, ever, ever. I mean, if you go to the bathroom, scratch your butt, and don't wash your own hands on your own food, that's one thing. But gosh, when you're paying big money out there and you turn around and somebody gives you Cryptosporidium or Giardia, or good Lord.
I mean, because even if you have pinworms, guys, and hopefully you guys don't think we're trying to sound scary, but it is
scary. This is scary stuff.
But when you have anal itching, we have a lot of patients that come in that have a lot of anal itching, even in the middle of the day. And I always say this is that when you're sleeping, at night, they do come out to play a lot of times. So do viruses. But when you have anal itching, I always tell people this too, that when you have deep inner ear itching, there's a lot of times they find, like when you talk about certain types of parasites, they have a lot of journals that talk about parasites being in the ears. In fact, I saw a journal one time, guys, where the CDC had to keep a guy who's coming in from Africa.
Yes.
For some reason, I can't remember, but they detained him. And they found it found a tapeworm in his brain.
Yeah.
They did a scan, and that was really crazy. I was like,
so when I was researching this, if you Google up parasites, human parasites, and you look at the images, it will give you nightmares. I mean, it's crazy what's coming out of people's bodies, what's in their toilets, what's in their brains, oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane. Oh. So how do we get parasites? Well, we've already talked a little bit about it. Food is really the number one. Pork. Yep. Pork, if you eat bacon, sausage, ham, pork loin, pork chops, pork bellies, pork rinds. I was at Whole Foods today and I saw the pork rinds. I was thinking, I wonder about pork rinds because they're fried up. Well, so today at Cracker Barrel, I didn't eat any gluten. I didn't eat any dairy, but I had ham. Margot had sausage and Trish had bacon. Yeah. All three of us have probably got some sort of worm crawling around in this Cracker Barrel. I mean, oh my gosh. So food's the number one. Traveling overseas, that's a big one. If you ever go to China, India, Mexico, even. If you've ever gone to Mexico and you get some sort of GI bug and you drink their water or what have you, and you get Montezuma's revenge. You've got a parasite.
Oh, you do.
You got a parasite. So if you've ever had that, then you need to probably do a parasite cleanse, right? Completely. Animals licking themselves and then licking you. That's a no-brainer, right? The fecal oral route, the whole salt shaker thing. And then, like you said, actually immigrants coming in because they come in from other countries have got a tremendous amount of parasites. And those people live with parasites all the time. They're barefoot. They're walking on the barefoot. I'm a big fan of earthing. But also if you step on human feces or animal feces and you may not even know you're stepping on it, you're going to get worms up through your feet.
Yeah. You can do
and
that.
they walk barefoot in a lot of other countries.
And it's not unusual, guys, when they do like a deworming of some of these individuals, how many worms they get out of a person.
Okay, so now I don't know for sure about the worm, how many come out, but when I do mission trips, when I've been in Haiti and when I've been in Honduras and places and done mission trips, I mean, we give parasitic mebendazole, albendazole, ivermectin, all of that, whatever we have to give them for free. We give parasite treatment to everybody, every single person in a third world country.
Completely. I think ivermectin, albendazole, they actually worked really well. I've had some patients that have been on it, and they're from Canada, and they've had like from Indian ancestry, and so they would take a lot of ivermectin, which is a medication, and it would kill it.
It's usually a single dose treatment, and it kills it. Yeah, it's one thing. So what are the symptoms? So you guys are listening. Hey guys, if you're on here, hit your heart buttons and hit your like buttons if you're listening to this. Tell us, have you ever had any sort of parasites as well? Don't be ashamed. We're all family around here.
I've had parasites.
You have? Well, I'm sure we're loaded with them. I've never known of having
Everybody's parasites.
We've got them, so no matter what. Fatigue, symptoms, fatigue, constipation, diarrhea, bloating. You see those little kids just bloated up.
Exactly. When you eat, and people come in and they'll get like kwashiorkor, their stomach. Like you'll eat and you see people, they say my stomach blew out to here, like I'm pregnant. Like mostly like ladies will say that. Parasites usually.
Oh my gosh. Diarrhea, heartburn, vomiting, chills, right? Stomach pain, loss of appetite. Well, think about it. You know, if you've got a lot of parasites roaming around in there, of course you're going to have loss of appetite and your stomach's going to be hurting, right? Anal itching, worse at night. But a big one, people, that you guys may not even think about is teeth grinding. Bruxism. If you grind your teeth at night, that is a surefire sign of parasites. And I've known that. I mean, I knew that. I didn't learn that today, but you know, and a lot of times dentists will do all these things to you, but the first thing we really need to do is treat you for parasites.
That's exactly. When people come in with TMJ, the three things I always find is
TMJ, which is, you know,
temporomandibular, and I'll find gallbladder, I'll find triple hair thyroid, or I'll find small intestine, large intestine, because in acupuncture, the lines run right here, right through the jaw, the stomach runs right through the jaw, and the small intestine's right here on the ear. So you'll have infections in these areas, and it creates heat in the points along these areas. So think about like your car overheats, right? You get an inflammation, you get dehydrated. And what do you do whenever at night when those things are out to play? It irritates these points, and when you do, you clench. So people get TMJ at night, and that's what happens while you get that TMJ clench.
I don't clench my teeth at night. I don't grind my jaws. But bruxism, Denise, is when you grind your teeth. Teeth grinding. Yep. All right. So those are some symptoms, but there are a whole lot more symptoms. You know, seizures. I mean, I learned that today. I didn't even think about seizures being a parasite problem, but it is. So what do we do about it? Well, the traditional treatment for parasites is the single dose of albendazole, mebendazole, ivermectin. Those are usually effective for the eradication of whatever parasite we have going on. Now, I do have a lot of patients who say, nope, I don't want, you know, to treat it pharmaceutically. I want to go with a parasite cleanse, something like that. So we're going to talk more about that tonight, the things that are involved in a parasite cleanse. And I'll tell you what, actually, when I was looking today, Dr. Josh Axe, who's right here in Franklin, has got some great information on parasite cleanses online. I didn't know that. And all kinds of great information actually on parasite. But some things that we know, number one is black walnut. Black walnut. And I don't know what about black walnut kills parasites.
They say it's the irritant. The walnut has an acidic ash type, almost like a cranberry effect on the outside of the black walnut. And so it can actually tear them open. The black walnut, yeah.
Really?
It's like really, and there's
so when they get angry and when they start to die, many times they act up and they create even more problems.
They do, yeah.
Right?
They actually will move. A lot of times when you eat something or take like a black walnut, and you'll find symptoms. People will say, well, I feel kind of like something, not say moving, but itching. Itching will move. Different symptoms will happen in their digestion. They'll feel like stuff like cramps. I'm like, why? Parasites move. Like they literally find places that are very warm. Like they love prostate in men. They love the testes. They love the ovary area. Why? Because it's constant feed of blood. So you have all these nutrients that float around the blood after you eat, and then the parasites can go out there and eat it. And so it's just like free food to them.
I don't like this night. I don't like anything about this. I'm going to have like nightmares tonight thinking about this stuff.
Completely. Like with gallbladder, we talk about gallbladder issues, and they talk about gallstones. They've some had done research where they've opened them up and found small, like, eggs and larvae in them, because they'll burrow into the bile. And when you eat food, it gets in the stomach. They'll jump out and go through the tubing into your stomach, eat the food, and then they can crawl back up.
Good Lord.
And they're smart.
Yeah, they are
They're
smart.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, black walnut.
250 milligrams of black walnut 3 times a day. Now, okay, this is if you're going to treat these things separately. So an actual parasite, not treat them, dose the ingredients separately. So we'll talk that, and then we'll talk parasite cleanse. Because do you have a parasite cleanse over here?
I do.
Okay, so what do you use? Let's go with the combo product first.
I use NutriWest Parazyme A, guys. It's like really.
I like NutriWest. I don't use their stuff, but I like them.
It's really good stuff. It's Parazyme A, and it has black walnut in it. It's got some burdock root and garlic. It's got Artemisia, and Artemisia is a really good anti-parasitic, especially with people who have Lyme disease, because people with Lyme disease sometimes have co-infections of parasites in the gut because of the damage that's been going on into the digestive tract. But I like Parazyme A. You say black walnut. I'm not saying maitake's really used for it, but I like certain types of mushrooms, and this is one branch you get at Whole Foods. It's like Host Defense, but I like their reishi. Reishi's really good at killing off stuff. Kill off parasites. Reishi does, because reishi is very grounding in chi. It'll pull up a lot of energy into the body, especially in the large intestine and digestion, to kill off infection. Bodyguard. This is one from Supreme Nutrition Products, guys. So Bodyguard is basically a fern. I can't say it, but if you just remember this, Bodyguard Supreme, and it goes in and helps not tear open, but it actually breaks down gallstones and kidney stones, which parasites love to hide in.
Oh my God!
And my other one that I really love, guys, if you understand it, like we have a whole bunch with Dani, but my bottle got completely crushed. I don't know what happened to it. It must have been on my toaster oven. But Morinda, which is noni powder. Noni powder is
noni is in Biocidin.
It's very anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
And you have to be mindful when you take something that's anti-parasitic, and we do higher dosages, and you start to feel like things moving, but you feel down. You have to lessen your load. But there's a lot more. But I like Parazyme A. I like some of these, and I love chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum will kill off a lot of infection.
Yes, it will. In fact, I think chrysanthemum is in Biocidin. Yeah. But Mary says. Sergey says to tell you, in the Ukraine, they knew about black walnut 30 years ago, plus pumpkin seeds. Yes, Mary, pumpkin seeds are on my list here. Actually, pumpkin seeds are the #1 food for killing parasites. Dr. Josh Axe says that he does a half a cup in the morning when he's doing a parasitic cleanse. He'll put a half a cup of pumpkin seeds in his detox shake, and then he'll do a half a cup in the afternoon, either eat them or put them in something else. But black walnut, wormwood, 200 milligrams 3 times a day, anti-parasitic properties. So black walnut, wormwood, oregano oil. Oh, I left my oregano oil in there. 500 milligrams 4 times a day. Oregano is actually an antibacterial and an anti-parasitic. I use a ton of oregano essential oil with my patients when they have colds or ear infections or sinus infections. I have them put oregano on the bottom of their feet, because most of the time oregano doesn't taste good at all. Grapefruit seed extract. It's an anti-parasitic. Clove oil. It kills off parasites and other invading organisms. I love clove. I cannot tell you enough good things about clove oil. Now, I use Young Living. Other people use other things, doTERRA and all that. When I had oral surgery, clove is really strong for oral surgery. They've used it for thousands of years for mouth sores and ulcers. When I had 9 amalgams removed and an implant started and teeth removed and bone grafts and all this mess 5 years ago with Dr. Ryan Jones, clove oil is what I used. I gargled in it. I put it on it. I sucked on it like, oh gosh, it was just crazy. Yeah, clove oil, it will kill parasites. It will kill parasites. For sure. Berberine. I am the biggest fan of berberine, and I am so irritated that I never used berberine until just recently, not too many years ago. Berberine is anti-parasitic, antibacterial, also anti-candidal. So it'll kill candidiasis. It'll kill candida. I love this. It also helps with blood sugar, helps with sugar cravings. I love berberine. This is my favorite one from Zymogen. I was using a different one for a couple of years. I switched over to Zymogen.
I hadn't used theirs.
It is excellent. It's got it's got tons of stuff in it, right? It also has 5 milligrams of zinc in it, but it's got bayberry, grapefruit, Oregon grape, which is all of those are make up
Antiparasitic.
berberine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've had, I think I liked I didn't know they had that. Thorn Mix, a good one. And so integrative therapeutic.
Well, that's the one I used for years, was integrative therapeutics. This one's better.
Really?
I'm telling you it is. And it's less expensive. So it's $30 for 120 capsules.
Ooh.
And and it's higher dose than integrative therapeutics.
Zymogen has such
Zymogen
great
does a really good
Wow.
job. Also, guys, biocidin or biocidin. This is probably my all-time favorite right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to a webinar today on biocidin, Lyme disease, parasites, candida, HIV, you name it. I listened to it. Was an amazing webinar. This has got bilberry in it, noni, milk thistle, echinacea, golden seal, shiitake, white willow, garlic, which is a big one for parasites, grapeseed extract, black walnut, the hull and the leaf, raspberry, fumitory, ginseng, tea tree oil. It's another one for killing. Galbanum oil, lavender, oregano. This was used in the 80s with HIV patients, by the way.
Really?
There's been some studies. Yeah, it is phenomenal. You want to kill parasites. You want to kill bacteria in the gut. You want to kill candida. This is my first go-to in the office. Biocidin. It's not cheap. It's $60. But you work your way up. Oh, it's
much
loaded.
You get in that. That's like
This stuff is unbelievable. And it's got an amazing anti-parasitic.
Wow.
And so I've got a good friend, Lee Russell, who's our Dunwoody food sensitivity rep. She does this just a little bit every day. She just does like a drop a day, puts it in some water and drinks it down just to keep going. And then if you ever ramp up, or if you feel like you're getting sick, or you've got parasite or whatever, then you can go on to how we're going to do 2 weeks on, 1 week off. We'll talk about
There's another one where I would say this, guys, right? This one's called mimosa, like a mimosa. Mimosa pudica. It's a big one. Pudica. And it's a shrub type plant. But I'll take that sometimes for a span of time, like 2 a day. It keeps you regular, but it really does kill a lot of the worms in the body. Like, you'll be surprised how much better you feel on mimosa. But if you get a detox reaction, healing crisis, back off. But remember that one, mimosa pudica. It's a good one.
Mimosa pudica. I just like saying that.
Mimosa pudica.
Okay, you need 4 drops of mimosa pudica every single day. Hey, Teresa, the way you use biocidin, my friend, is exactly how it's dosed on the bottle here. 1 drop. You're going to start with 1 drop, and you're going to gradually increase up to 5 drops 3 times a day, or as directed by your healthcare practitioner, which would be me, my friend. So do it exactly the way you have it right here. Go through a bottle of it. I'm telling you, it works. It does. So then when you get into essential oils, right? Oil of oregano is number 1. Well, actually, probably clove oil is number 1, but oil of oregano, cinnamon bark, it's anti-parasitic, right? Tea tree oil. And when I was watching today, Josh Axe, tea tree oil, he said is especially useful for skin parasites.
Yeah, tea tree oil is melaleuca. I find that, especially like when you said even like around the teeth, it really works really well within the teeth.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A lot of times with the cavitation, they'll find like I've seen pictures of that, find like larvae underneath, and they'll put clove and melaleuca.
Well, he talked about the cavitations and oh goodness, fennel oil, which I don't have. I have some fennel liqueur in there from Italy that I brought back from Italy 2 years ago. So fennel oil, it helps with digestion and it's parasitic, right? 1 to 2 drops twice a day in water. Hyssop, it's an antiseptic, anti-parasitic. It works well with tapeworms, hookworms, flukes. 1 to 2 drops in some water.
Yes.
Then you've got clove, right? It fights parasites that thrive in the intestines.
Wow.
Clove does. Isn't that something? Clove oil. Thyme, antibacterial, anti-parasitic, and myrrh. It's good enough for Jesus. It's good enough for us. So I tell that every day because I have patients put frankincense on their thyroid every day.
Yeah.
So those are essential oils, and then your parasite cleanses. Now, I don't know how you do a parasite cleanse. I usually have patients do 2 weeks on, 1 week off. 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and do that for about 2 cycles, maybe 3 cycles. But you let them go off a week, let them open back up, let them rebirth, right? In case you've got larvae in there that haven't hatched yet, right?
Yeah. That's
And so 2 weeks on will kill what's there. And then the week off, any larvae that weren't dead yet and rehatch, boom, we kill those again on the second 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then we do that for 2 or 3 cycles is how I do it.
2 or 3 cycles. And remember, they're smart, so they try to run, and so that's why when you cycle them, you got to keep on them, because a lot of times you'll have patients that come in and they'll have like co-infections of other parasites, and so when you get rid of a lot of the parasitic activity, if you have a stool sample, it seems like it's clean. We're not saying be wary and worry about it, but like you say, your friend, when she does a drop or 2 a day, it sort of keeps that anti-parasitic activity going.
Yes.
Because we get so much in our food, and if you know some of the main ways you get some parasites, I'll have different vials, and one of the main areas are fruits and vegetables.
Yo,
Fruits and vegetables and green leaves.
somebody said that today. Fruits and vegetables. We are getting so infested with parasites from fruits and vegetables.
A lot.
It's like really increasing.
It is, like, because I would get testing on some of these that would show up over and over on patients, and I'd be like, where's this coming from? And I there's some that I know. I'm like, these comes from dogs. This comes from contaminated food. And I found 2 patients like 3 weeks ago that kept having this one reoccur. And he said it comes from fruits and such. And I was like, oh my word. Like, we're being healthy, eating fruits and vegetables, and then you're getting a parasite.
Yeah, right.
Don't be afraid of fruits and vegetables.
No, don't. But speaking of, that's a good segue into the diet. So we know about a parasite cleanse, and Jenny asked, what's your specific protocol? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no specific treatment protocol. It depends on what parasite you have. Do you have hookworms? Do you have Giardia? Do you have Cryptosporidium? Do you have histoplasmosis? Do you have toxoplasmosis? It just goes on and on, you know. Well, not histoplasmosis.
Histoplasmosis.
Yeah, it would be the lungs. But do you histolytica? What is it called? Histolytica. That's another parasite. I mean, it's crazy.
It is. Like strongyloides is a big one. Like threadworms, they're like so thin they'll get in between. Like a lot of times you'll find patients that have
what is it?
It's called strongyloides.
I've never had a strongyloides.
It's like when people have like Lyme disease or they have Epstein-Barr, sometimes they'll say, I have really bad leg weakness. A lot of my patients will do that, like from the legs down or the calves down. And you'll find a lot of evidence of, like, I find strongyloides in the legs a lot. Because they're threadworms, they get in the tissue. And all that's showing is that the immune system's low and you can't fight off the infection. So, what we talked about, building up your immune to go find it. And there's just a lot of evidence out there about parasitic infection. In fact, there are some doctors out there, I know I don't say like parasites cause everything. There's some docs that will say parasites cause everything.
No, there is no one cause for everything. There is no one treatment for everything. There is no one size fits all for anything.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever tells you there is, this always works, they are full of shit. I'm telling you right now, you need to find another provider, because this is individualized, personalized lifestyle medicine.
Exactly. Everybody's so unique. And everybody's so individualistic. Like, you can say, like, what one thing could you do for all your parasites? Like,
there's nothing.
You just have to go through it and try and see which ones work.
That's exactly right. You have to. So speaking of fruits and vegetables, so then the diet, what kind of diet do you eat when you're trying to kill off parasites? Now, many times parasites and candida go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Because parasites feed on sugar. They love sugar just like we do. So the more sugar, so you have to have an anti-candida, anti-sugar diet, hands down, no sugar whatsoever. And quite frankly, no grains, because they love grains. Grains are going to turn to sugar, right?
And they love an acidic environment, and they live like we do. If we want a quick fix of sugar to get our energy going, they metabolize it too. And then they like anaerobic environments. They like acidic environments. And what does sugar do? Turns into an acidic environment. So perfect breeding ground.
Yeah. So no sugar or grains, very little fruit, if any. Well, good Lord, who wants to eat fruit now if it's infected with parasites? I swear.
Don't be afraid.
But very little fruit, because many fruits turn to sugar, right? Or a lot of fruits do, right? So we're got to kill off the bad bacteria and the fungus that parasites live off of, because they do. The number one food, pumpkin seeds, which we already talked about. And apparently they already know that in the Ukraine. Oh, Bonnie, we just talked about pork. Pork is the number one food for parasites. Bacon, ham, sausage, pork loin, pork tenderloin, pork chops, pork belly, pork rinds, I suppose. Pork. And I love pork. So I had ham this morning. So we had 3 pieces of the pig at my table this morning. Margot had sausage, I had ham, Trish had bacon.
I love it. Yes, pork is one of the biggest issues. I just saw it. It said, "Can I mix the biocidin with something?" It gave me heartburn bad last year when
Yeah, you can put it with some water, Teresa, or you could put it in anything really, a little hot tea. You could probably put it in some coconut oil. And because coconut oil is also anti-parasitic.
Coconut was very anti-parasitic,
yes.
very antiviral.
Yes, it's antibacterial and antimicrobial. I have that written down on here.
Completely. You know when they do oil pulling, guys, like if you ever had parasitic activity around the gums, because think about it, if you ate pork, you ate pork or ate something that was parasitic and it got in between your gum line or down your tooth, like they always talk about root canals and all these kind of things, if it went down there, and they stay there because there's not a lot of white blood cell activity in your teeth. That's why they like it, because there's not a lot of pathways to get into your jawbone for the white blood cells to go kill infection. But if you take coconut oil and you switch around, do it like once a day, every day, I guarantee if you get sores in your mouth or you feel real tender all over it, you're killing stuff off. Okay. It's an experiment. But make sure you don't have an allergy to coconut, of course. Yes,
Teresa Weaver, don't you dare. You can't have coconut, so don't do it. You know, it's really interesting. My body does not like coconut oil.
Mine doesn't.
Every time I use it, I dry out. My skin gets dry. My hair gets dry. It's supposed to make things better. No. And I don't have a coconut sensitivity, on my food sensitivity, but my body hates coconut oil. Well, I don't know what it is about it, but it doesn't like it.
Exactly. Everybody's using so much coconut. I mean, I love it, guys, but it's like coconut milk, coconut ice cream, because we have to have all these alternatives. But some people come in and are like, I put it in my smoothie every day. And I'm like, this one doesn't agree with you. But it's so anti-parasitic. So whenever you put something in water, I always think this, if a symptom gets worse, it either means it's killing something off, or you have to check if you have a sensitivity to it. Because when you're eating like a pumpkin seed or you're having that, you're going to make those things move. Like they don't like it. They're going to jump out of the tissue and go somewhere else. So you start feeling rumbling and belching, or like when you go to the restroom and you have gas with your poop, like you'll have intermittent, like you'll poop and then you'll have gas, poop and gas. That's parasitic. Seriously.
But that's how I am all the time. What are you talking about? That's parasites?
A lot of times it's parasites when there's a lot of gas built up in there with your poop, usually.
Oh, no. I've never had horrible gas when I poop until February. Well, I know exactly when all this happened. February, when I went to New York City. Since February, I have had the worst poop gas. Are you serious? And Teresa Greco, when she does my, I'm shocked too. I'm terrible. This is awful. Sit down, you poop gas, poop gas. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Lady did it beside me yesterday at the Michael Hyatt conference. She sat down, pooped gas right beside. I mean, I don't know if she sat, but anyway, she pooped gas in the stall beside me, and I was like, oh my Lord, because I do anything not to do that in public. No. I mean, I'll tighten it up quicker than anything because you never know who's in there. But I never thought about that being parasitic
activity.
Oh, Teresa, we got to do it. We got to do colon hydrotherapy. Okay, foods. Pumpkin seeds are number one. Garlic and onions. Both of these are immune boosting vegetables that also have anti-parasitic effects. Wow. But they're also, garlic and onions are also prebiotics. So they help prepare the gut for the probiotics.
And that's so good. Like you're giving those guys the good army some good food. Yeah.
Oh, Mary, I've got worms. I got the worms. Holy cow. My butt doesn't itch, though. I don't have an itchy butt.
See, this is a great subject. We had fun tonight. This is so good.
I hate this subject.
It's so good.
I am never talking worms again, people.
I think it's fun.
This is killing me over here. Yes, I have got poopy gas, but I don't have itchy butt. So, okay. So there y'all know way more about me than you need to know. Wow. Herbs. Oregano and ginger, they have antibacterial and anti-parasitic effects as well, okay? Papaya juice. I learned this today. I didn't know this about papaya juice. Wow. It is a potent juice that has anti-parasitic effects. Papaya. I don't know anything about papaya. I mean,
could it be the enzymatic effect?
I think so. It has to be the enzymes because you can tell when you eat a papaya, it's just I don't know. There's something about it that's feisty when you eat it. No, really.
That's how a lot of the herbalists talk about, like how it tastes. Like it's like buying it goes in there and eats things up. Yeah. I would say that there are some anti-parasitic formulas I've seen that I've carried at the office. They consist of a lot of enzymatic activity. So the enzymes go in and they actually tear open the walls of the parasite.
Well, papaya enzymes, right? Yeah. Papaya. Okay. So that makes sense. Probiotic rich foods, right? Kefir, sauerkraut, yogurt, which I don't do yogurt, can keep parasites in check and improve the health of the gut. What are you going to avoid? Of course, sugar. any processed, packaged, bagged, canned, tubed, fake food. Highly processed food does not support your immune health whatsoever. Alcohol. Supposed to stay away from that. It lowers your immune system. My immune system is good, but apparently I've got issues. Wheat. Okay. Again, wheat. Nobody needs to be eating wheat, people. We're not eating Jesus's wheat 2,000 years ago, if you believe in Jesus, right? He had 3 strands of wheat. In the United States, we have 25,000 strands of hybridized wheat, okay? It can break down into sugar quickly, and it causes intestinal inflammation. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It will break apart those gap junctions quicker than anything and create a leaky gut.
Yeah.
So it is not your friend. I don't care if you're eating whole wheat or whatever it is you're eating, it is not your friend.
The problem is like when it opens up those junctions, think about it. Like just in case you ate pork and it had like cysts or anything like that, and you had open junctions from eating wheat, what do? They go into the junctions and they get into your bloodstream and they'll crawl around. Like I've had dark field microscopy done on my blood. And guys, I was sitting there and I looked at my blood and they showed it flowing, all my red blood cells. And when they slowed it down, I saw these little things squiggling through my blood.
What was it?
And I was like, what is that? And they were like, well, that's a bacteria. That's a little bit of yeast. And those are parasites. She didn't think anything different about it. I went, what? That was when I was going through a heavy detox with Lyme. And I went, what do you, and she goes, oh, you're not bad. This is really actually pretty good. And I had a few. And she said, there's people that just have one all through their cells. And they just they just run around and eat up your sugars and your foods. It's crazy.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. So we want to stay away from sugar, processed foods, pork. Well, I don't know if we have to stay away from it, but we know it's loaded with parasites in there, right? Wheat, alcohol, packaged, bagged, canned, fake food. What are you going to eat? Garlic, onions, herbs, things like oregano and ginger, papaya juice, right? Coconut oil, probiotic rich foods. These are all good things that help to help with parasitic or worm infections. Now, Teresa Greco just logged on. I just saw her. She's on. Hello, Teresa. If you the next step, and it's perfect timing, Teresa. I saw you just got on here. If you guys have any questions about colon hydrotherapy, you can address them to the Body Benefit because she's on here right now. Hello, Teresa. Now, and if you have any questions about colon hydrotherapy, you can watch our Sunday night service from a few weeks ago where Teresa talked about colon hydrotherapy. Colonics. Colonics is a great way to address parasites and candida and gallbladder and liver and pretty much everything else. But Dr. Axe recommends 1 colonic for 3 weeks, 1 colonic 3 weeks in a row. I don't know. Teresa recommends 3 colonics back to back the first time that you do it.
I've done, when I had Lyme real bad, Teresa, I did a colonic every week for years about reason because I had so much, I think, Epstein-Barr in my body. Like I would have flu symptoms every time. For the first 6 months, it was almost like I had the flu every time I had a colonic. Literally like shakes and I had sweats. And then I would go to work. Like we get down and be like, okay, I'm going to go to work. And I got used to it. But after about 6 months, it went away. Like I could feel, it felt so much better after that first like 6 months. But, I mean, either one. But if you're able to handle it, like I don't know what Teresa would say, but that's what I did. It really helped. I love it.
Well, let me tell you, Teresa says that, but Teresa also says that she sees all kinds of parasites come out during colon hydrotherapy, like flukes, like long worms, like sucker worms, things that are sucking up. I mean, all kinds of stuff come out. I mean, pieces of things, whole things. I've never seen anything. I don't know. Apparently, Mary, I've got worms because you poop gas, or whatever you called it.
But I'm not
going to be able to go to the bathroom ever again without thinking about that.
My hydrotherapist said that she would see my colon therapist, she would say that she would see red, they call them little red worms, or like little like fine thin, and they'd be rolled up in balls, and they would just be like, she'd see them pass through like little bundles of worms wrapped together all the time in some patients.
You're so good. Yes. So Teresa says there's a lot of toxins when the body responds like that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And yes, Teresa Weaver, I wish I'd known before I had my gallbladder taken out last year. Yes, Correct. I think we remove a lot of gallbladders before it's time, many times when we could save them. Now, there are times, though, when you need your gallbladder removed. Holy cow. I would never tell somebody, oh, don't ever. I mean, you can die from a ruptured gallbladder.
Yeah.
You don't
on our last post, though, guys, when you talk about gallbladder, I talked about that a lot of people want to do a cleanse, but I talked specifically about parasitic activity in the gallbladder because of how they hide in the bile. But a good way to check, and I'm not saying that you have parasites, but the symptom is, and I was going to stand up, but there's a point. They call it CRA. Well, you can't see it right now.
Can you see here? I'll hold it. I'll pull it up.
So if you say right between your belly button and your left hip bone right here, you can go in between, right between them, and press in on both sides.
Belly button and hip bone.
Belly button and the hip bone. That big
pull it up.
bone right here.
Woo!
Right there. And the belly button. And you can put the middle point and find if they're tender. If they're chronically tender on you, I'm not saying you have parasites, but those are large intestine reflex points. And they use that in certain reflex analysis techniques. And if you consistently see that, like every day, if you pressing it, that's so tender, that could be an indicator that you have parasitic activity. And when you start taking some of the supplements, you'll notice that they'll get better and better. So that's a way you can check yourself. I'm not saying that tells you have parasites, but it definitely tells you have some form of large intestine.
Well, you got something going on. And then somebody asked, how do you check? Well, stool studies. If you really want a definitive, like you want to know for sure, I mean, he's got kinesiology. He knows what your body's telling him, right? And then, but if you want to poop, scoop, send it off, we do a 3-day stool study, right? Where you poop for 3 days, you send it off down to Atlanta or South Carolina or somewhere. I can't remember where it goes, but, and then I get a 16-page or so report back, and it tells me exactly what parasites you have going on in your body and how to treat it. And so I use, Doctor's Data and Genova. They both tell me the pharmaceutical way to treat it, and they tell me the natural way to treat it as well. So it'll say black walnut. It'll say uva ursi, it'll say plant tannins or oregano or garlic. So it's really pretty fascinating.
Awesome.
If you want a stool study, we can certainly do it at the office. And it's usually about $300 if insurance doesn't pay for it. That's how much it is. But it also looks for yeast and bacteria, H. pylori. It looks at parasites. It looks at products of digestion, like are you chewing your food well? I mean, I know all kinds of things about your poop by the time we get this back. It's pretty fascinating. It tells me the zonulin levels in your gut. It's all kinds of stuff. So the way you test is with a stool study or with somebody like Dr. Motley, who does kinesiology. Colon hydrotherapy, big treatment, right? I mean, it helps. It doesn't kill them, but it helps flush them out, right? Sauna, a far infrared sauna. Let me tell you, you all can't see this, but this is my little card that I have for yoni steaming on this side, and then the biomat and the far infrared sauna right here. Oh my goodness. A far infrared sauna will open up the pores in the skin and provoke the body to sweat out waste and toxins. It enhances the detoxification process in your body while boosting metabolism, burning calories, and reducing fat cells. Lyme disease, parasites, candida, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, I've never sweated like I have in a far infrared sauna. Unbelievable. And I mean, it's like got research on it. Far infrared has research on parasites and Lyme and metabolic detox.
And it's basically, it shakes up your cells to like their metabolism gets better, and then your cells go off and kill all the bad guys.
Isn't that something?
It is so amazing, like especially when you have sweats at night. I had patients the other day, and they called me and I love them to death, and they called me up and said, "Doc, is this normal? Like after you worked on, I found heart reflex, found some virus and parasite, and we did just a few points, pressed a few points, got that thing, and they're like, I've been sweating like nobody's business." I'm like, I'm trying to sweat stuff out now. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Far infrared is,
I'm telling you,
one of the best ways. One of the best ways to kill off stuff, because frequency kills so much stuff.
You bet it does. So if you don't have a far infrared sauna, or if you live in Franklin, you can come get in our far infrared sauna at the office. And it is, I'm telling you, it's amazing. You can sign up online under Book Now. I think that's what it is. DaniWilliamson.com, Book Now. You can get your yoni steamed. You can lay on the biomat, and you can get your parasites out as well in the sauna. So yoni steaming, let me tell you, after 2 weeks ago when Landon Hutchinson showed up from Living with Landon, our yoni steaming is going crazy upstairs. Teresa's going nuts in the colon hydrotherapy, and we're steaming yonis like crazy across the hall. So it's insane.
Yonis.
It's insane. Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. So sauna, colon hydrotherapy, those are things that you can add on to help as well. But parasites, the bottom line is we've all got parasites.
We all got parasites,
right?
Yes.
Hundreds of millions of us
Yep.
have parasites worldwide.
Exactly.
Isn't that something?
It is, and I think that the biggest point is that as we talk about digestive health, and Dani would talk about how it affects the thyroid and affects your energy levels.
Yes.
It's just as important, though, to go in and see if that's a possibility of why your problems kind of come into play, because there's so many different types of parasites. But it's not to sound scary. It's one avenue to check into, especially if you have pets and you've done a lot of travel. Like you said, you went to New York City.
Yes.
I had a patient come in, and she had L2, lumbar 2, like the vertebra in her back, and it kept showing up, and the signals I got off from kept coming up with parasitic, symptoms. And I was like, I said, this is not alarming. I do find some parasitic stuff. Come to find out, she said that I think it was a cruise or something she went on like 20 years ago. And she said that she got so infected with a parasite that they had to do like almost what the CDC called her and said, can we have stool samples so we can actually document this, because this strain is so rare that it would almost could create an epidemic, but really an epidemic on that ship. And so they did that, and it took her almost 8 weeks to get rid of it, like where it didn't show up in her stool sample. 8 weeks, it kept showing up. She had diarrhea. Because if you had chronic diarrhea, people come in sometimes to my office and go, I had diarrhea every day for 2 years. That's a big parasite indicator.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, this is a little different, but I have a patient who got salmonella since between when I saw her last and last week, and from a restaurant in the Gulch.
Wow.
I mean, her favorite restaurant, her whole family, 6 of them were there.
Oh, man.
They all ended up in the emergency room. And when they went to the emergency room, they found out that many people from this restaurant, from the beef short rib gnocchi, that's what it was, short rib gnocchi. And the restaurant has been phenomenal. They've paid for all the hospital bills and all that. But I mean, even a fancy restaurant, I mean, things happen. So, we can't be immune. You have to keep your immune system as healthy as possible. That's the bottom line, right?
Yep.
Keep your immune system as healthy. Keep detoxing as often as you can, right? So you can do a liver detox. You can do a parasite detox. Get in the sauna. Sweat. Just sweat. Sweat daily.
Completely, yes. And never take light. Don't mean worry, but like when we talk about salmonella, I think we get used to saying, oh, salmonella, H. pylori, and things like that. Like we just say it almost like it's a byword in health. But those things stick around really heavily. They do not go away that easily. And when you say sweat, you've got to keep pushing that stuff out. And especially as we get older, really our genetics come into play, and we don't utilize our vitamins and nutrients as well. That's why we're always touting like eat less sugar, do this, and take these vitamins and minerals. Keep your immune rolling. Yeah, you may have times where you feel bad, but it's better to get all that junk out now.
You bet it is. You bet it is. So that's the bottom line. Parasites are worldwide. We live with them every single day. But if you're having those symptoms, then maybe it's worth checking into and seeing, maybe you've got some parasites. Maybe you need to treat it. Maybe you just want to do a parasite cleanse. You don't know for sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you most likely.
Yeah.
Now you need to check with your provider, those kinds of things. But, maybe do a gentle parasite cleanse and see how you feel.
Exactly. Just do something very gentle, don't do it too heavily. And the whole key is to just sort of let it flow, basically. Flow.
Oh my gosh.
It's harsh to get those things rolling. Like when we talked about the gallbladder, like last week with some of my patients, there are certain points, like I'd have my patients, I send them home, I go, there's points on the body, rub this point, it's a reflex point, it's share the same nerve to the gallbladder. And I go, but be very careful. Do them like once every other day or every 2 days. I'm like, why? But they'll just go to town and rub that. And then they're like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm releasing stuff. Be gentle. Take your time.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We love you. But we're going to share, if you guys need to sign off, go ahead and sign off. But we're going to tell you a few things about next week. We're going to be talking hormones. perimenopause and menopause. So if you guys are going through perimenopause or menopause, or you have friends and family going through it, then you're going to want to share this with them. When I post up, we're going to be talking about, because we're going to be talking all things hormones, because this woman right here at 52, almost 53, is in the middle of menopause. And I keep saying to myself, thank God, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Lord, for that hot flash. There are many women who have not made it this far to go through it. That's what I have to keep saying is, you know, many women didn't get this far. So be grateful for the hot flash. This is a season, and I dress in layers. So anyway, we're talking about hormones, but also something real fast. I shared a post on Instagram and Facebook about and it's gone crazy. So just to address it while lots of you are on here, we have the brand new unflavored CBD oil from Earth's Glory, made just for integrative family medicine. So this is good. Unflavored, tastes a little bit earthy, not as minty as this one right here, which is the real one, that one, which I love. I'm fine with the peppermint. This is mine right here, but we have the unflavored one in the office now. Same price, $89. No flavoring. So if you need CBD oil but can't do the peppermint, we have it. Full spectrum, CO2, critically extracted, organic, third-party tested, all the things, same company as this one right here. But that's that. Also, this Friday night, I have decided to do a pop-up, spur of the moment, just decided it, CBD presentation at the office. 6:30 Friday night. It's a PowerPoint presentation on the power of CBD, the history, the legislation out there, what's going on with the synthetic CBD that's coming out by a pharmaceutical company, all those things about CBD. The last time I did this, I had 37 people in my conference room that holds 20 people. So you need to RSVP. It's already up under events on Dani Williamson Wellness. So if you want to come Friday night. My best friend from home, Trish, is going to be there. And she's coming in Friday. So I said, hey, I want to do this. So she's going to help me do it. I'm really excited. If y'all want to come, spend your Friday night with us at Integrative Family Medicine at the office, and we're going to learn about CBD. It's a really good presentation I put together actually at the beginning of the year. So good. So that's that. Everything here, everything's great at the office. Life is going good. Allergies are in full swing. A&I. I'm living on A&I. This is mine, and I've only got like 4 in there right now. I mean, this is my all-time favorite for allergies. So I'm living on this, working hard, just all that good stuff. What's going on with you?
Working hard. Mary Elizabeth, love you too. Thank you. She loves us both. I love her too.
Oh, yes. Denise Carter says she drove up from Birmingham last time for the CBD presentation. Yes, it was a good, thank you. I remember when you came. Yeah. I think you came with somebody else, Denise. I think that's right, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, office is going super fast and super crazy. We're really busy. Doing Thursday night, actually got a thing called Coffee and Conversations with Dr. Motley. We're doing it.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And we're gonna have people come in. You guys want to come out? You can go on my Instagram post and you can sign up there. It's $10, but it covers all the coffee, and we have a few choices. We have coffees, we have hibiscus tea, we've got green teas, we got different things there, and it's going to talk about energy, and we're going to talk about certain body types and how certain foods affect different body types and how it affects your energy levels.
That's going to be great.
It'll be fun. We all have. It's just like
we need to do something live one day.
It'd be fun.
Would you guys be interested in us doing something live somewhere, either at my office or your office? Yeah. Doesn't matter. I've got a conference room, so if you are, hit your heart buttons or whatever. If you would like, we could do something live. We could do some sort of question answer.
You'll see us live and we'll have fun. It'll be great.
Oh yeah. All right, guys, we love you. It goes by in a hurry. I do not ever want to talk about parasites again. I don't like parasites. I don't like anything about this. I have itched all day long after researching a bunch of this today, and now it's like anytime I halfway get a scratch down below, I'm going to think, oh my gosh, I've got pinworms. I've never had worms in my life. But, Lord, it's the ham today from Cracker Barrel. It's going to do it to me.
It's a ham. But guys, just go get tested if you suspect it.
I love what we do. I love it. Okay, so I texted Dr. Motley this week and I said, holy cow, I just counted. We have done 31. Today's 32 Sunday night services. 32 Sunday night services. I can't believe this. This time last year, we were sitting in my kitchen and I said, man, we need to do something for people free.
Yeah.
And then it was Sunday night when we were talking. I said, let's call it Sunday night service. And then there you go. I mean, we aren't syndicated, and no TV show, no station has picked us up and syndicated us.
You never know.
Right?
It'd be so fun. It'd be like, yeah, we would have fun.
It's been so much fun. We've talked about 31 different things.
Oh my word.
Is that not something?
And it's so crazy.
So if you guys have other ideas, next week we're talking about hormones, but if there's other things you want us to talk about, please put it up there. I shared it actually on the Dani Williamson Wellness page today, asking you, what do you want us to talk about? Because we need some ideas.
Yep.
You know,
There's
we
a lot
talk
of times
about what interests us, but I mean, parasites did not interest me in the least, but I did it for you all, and for him, because he likes it.
I love talking about parasites and stuff. But I don't like to see like pimples being popped.
Oh, I love pimple popping. I watched that girl on YouTube who pops those pimples. I miss popping pimples in my job.
Word.
I used to get stuff out of people. Oh my Lord, I could push out stuff and it would come out that much. Oh yeah, I did something on a lady's hip one time.
No, I don't hear it.
It looked like a huge worm coming out, white, just big. Oh, it was awesome. My old nurse, Nikki, she was great. She would assist me and stuff like that. Yeah, she was great. But anyway, I love pimple popping. I could have been a dermatologist.
She could have been. Oh man. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That gets
all right,
me.
guys. We love you so much. It's Sunday night. I got a lot to get done before tomorrow.
Me too.
I have not gotten my charts together, and we ran over 60 minutes on the dot. We are. All right, my friends. We love you. Mwah.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. And